Hello and welcome to lecture number 2 of MCQs solutions on in CA final direct tax paper number 7. And as I said in the last class also, even intermediate IPCC students can watch these lectures with respect to at least the common topics. जैसे कि last lecture में हमने chapter 1 किया जिसमें basic concepts, rates of tax वगैरह के questions थे, तो वो intermediate के बच्चे देख सकते हैं. Today's lecture we are going in the order of my CA final direct tax textbook. So today's lecture will involve chapters like double taxation avoidance agreement, cash loan chapter, NRI taxation, special rates of tax. As per policy, duration of every lecture will be about 1 hour. Time is what I have already promised you. We gave you the full introduction about these lectures in the last class. तो जो अगेन कॉमन टॉपिक्स है जैसे नॉन रेसिडेंट एनआरआई टैक्सेशन के अंदर मैं रेसिडेंशियल स्टेटस भी कराता हूं. सो आई टीच रेसिडेंशियल स्टेटस ऑल्सो टू सीए फाइनल स्टूडेंट. तो अगेन इंटरमीडिएट के स्टूडेंट्स भी वो लेक्चर देख सकते हैं. तो एटलीस्ट विथ रिस्पेक्ट टू द कॉमन पॉइंट्स एंड एज फार एज फाइनल स्टूडेंट्स आर कंसर्न, लेट मी टेल यू आज के लेक्चर में इंटरनेशनल टैक्स वाले बहुत सारे टॉपिक्स लाइक डबल टैक्सेशन रिलीफ होगा, एनआरआई टैक्सेशन, स्पेशल रेट्स ऑफ टैक्स, ऑल दैट इज अ पार्ट ऑफ एनआर टैक्सेशन. तो इसलिए आज का लेक्चर बहुत अच्छा और बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट आपके लिए रहने वाला है. लेट अस कम टू अवर डायरेक्टली. मैं अभी चैप्टर पे चल रहा हूं, नो मोर इंट्रोडक्शन. ना हो गया जो इंट्रोडक्शन यस्टरडेज लेक्चर, फर्स्ट लेक्चर हाफ एन आवर आई गिव यू, 20 मिनट्स आई गिव यू इंट्रोडक्शन. चलिए लेट्स कम टू द क्वेश्चंस ऑफ योर चैप्टर डबल टैक्सेशन अवॉइडेंस अग्रीमेंट. डबल टैक्सेशन अवॉइडेंस अग्रीमेंट का खाली पेज नंबर बता देता हूं. पेज नंबर 8 के ऊपर आपके जो है क्वेश्चंस चालू हो रहे हैं. अगेन some questions are going to be easy level, some questions are going to be difficult, some will be very difficult. MCQs दो टाइप का होगा. 1 mark MCQ 10 questions, 2 mark MCQ 10 questions. 10 plus 20 30 marks का आपका MCQ होगा और ये तो इंटरनेशनल टैक्स है. तो चलिए लेट अस सी DTAA क्वेश्चन नंबर 1. और ये मेंशन भी किया हुआ है that these MCQs are relevant for paper 6C also इन न्यू सिलेबस. एक बात याद रखना स्टूडेंट्स के कुछ ऐसे चैप्टर आपके डायरेक्ट टैक्स में हैं जो वर्ड टू वर्ड आपके इलेक्टिव पेपर इंटरनेशनल टैक्स में भी कॉपी हो रहा है. सो दोज चैप्टर्स यू कैन एक्चुअली यूज फॉर both. And as per suggestion given by one of the students on the comment in the comment section yesterday's video, स्टूडेंट ने बोला कि सर जब डेली लेक्चर अपलोड होने वाला होगा ना तो उसमें कौन सा चैप्टर कवर्ड है वो आप अगर लेक्चर नंबर 1 में दिस इज द चैप्टर कवर्ड, लेक्चर नंबर 2 में दीज आर द चैप्टर्स कवर्ड, अगर आप पहले से मुझे टेलीग्राम के अंदर इन्फॉर्म कर दोगे तो वो चैप्टर रिवाइज करके फिर मैं एमसीक्यू का लेक्चर देखूंगा. देन इट विल बी बेटर that we can revise those chapters before watching the lecture. तो अब से मैं as per policy जब भी मैं वो हमारे टेलीग्राम के ग्रुप के अंदर, टेलीग्राम के चैनल के अंदर I will be announcing every day, I will be sending the link, I will also write the name of the chapter. वैसे some students might probably be getting my WhatsApp messages also. Some students may be following me on Facebook or maybe Instagram also. और इवन ऑन माई व्हाट्सएप स्टोरी में भी शायद आपको दिखता होगा. बट द बेस्ट प्लेस वेयर आई विल गिव यू ऑल दिस इंफॉर्मेशन बिकॉज यू नो माई फेसबुक, माई व्हाट्सएप, ऑल दैट इज माई पर्सनल स्टफ. सो आई कैन पुट वॉट एवर आई वॉन्ट. आई कैन पुट फनी स्टफ, जोक्स, फैमिली इमेजेस, माई चॉइस. बट एजुकेशनल रिलेटेड ऑल द डेटा एंड अनाउंसमेंट्स एवरीथिंग विल हैपन इन द टेलीग्राम चैनल. सो link will be given in the description to this video. You can get connected with me on that. Let's go. Tax can be levied on an assessee due to residence, source, both A and B, or always. ये एक ऐसा कॉन्सेप्ट है जो इंटरनेशनल टैक्स के हर लेक्चर के अंदर आपके साथ में डिस्कस होता है. एवरी लेक्चर ऑफ इंटरनेशनल टैक्स. ग्लोबली देयर आर 2 प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ लेवी ऑफ टैक्स. ग्लोबली देयर आर 2 प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ लेवी ऑफ टैक्स. कौन सा? प्रिंसिपल ऑफ रेसिडेंस, प्रिंसिपल ऑफ सोर्स. दैट मीन्स कैन आई से tax can be levied because of residence also, tax can be levied because of source also, tax can be levied because of both A and B. Obviously always नहीं हो सकता है. always क्यों नहीं हो सकता है? क्योंकि अगर आपका रेसिडेंस भी नहीं है और सोर्स भी नहीं है, दोनों नहीं है, then there cannot be income tax. but रेसिडेंस है even if there is no source, source है even if there is no residence, both cases tax can be levied. Second question. X, a resident of India, earned income in New Zealand and paid a tax in both countries. तो इंडिया में प्रिंसिपल ऑफ रेसिडेंस की वजह से टैक्स लग रहा है, इनकम इन न्यूजीलैंड एंड देयरफॉर प्रिंसिपल ऑफ सोर्स की वजह से लग रहा है. दिस इज विच डबल टैक्सेशन? ज्यूरिडिकल डबल टैक्सेशन, इकोनॉमिक डबल टैक्सेशन, बोथ ए एंड बी और नन ऑफ देम. मैं आपको डेफिनेशन याद दिलाता हूं. यू नो दीज लेक्चर्स विल आल्सो सर्व लाइक अ रिवीजन at least with respect to some of the topics, whenever the same person on the same income is getting taxed twice, that is juridical. And when the same income is getting taxed twice but different people, that is economic double taxation. Here, can I say same assessee X is getting taxed in both countries? That means it becomes, can I say, juridical double taxation? Fantastic. But when it was different assessee, when it is different assessees, then it will become obviously economic double taxation. Let's go ahead. Question number 3. X, a resident of Germany, earned dividend income from a domestic company in India on which DDT under section 1150 has been paid by the company. However, X is required to pay tax in Germany due to residence. Obviously, X Germany में resident है, तो X वहां पे residence principal पे tax भरेगा, और इंडिया में source principal पे वो tax क्यों नहीं पे कर रहा है? Because इंडिया में the company has already paid DDT, so it is going to be exempt. देखिए, I have already told you these lectures are relevant till November 2020 attempt. तो इन lectures के अंदर DDT आएगा. Just a small piece of information, May 21 attempt there is no DDT. DDT is abolished now and all the dividend will be taxable for the receiving shareholder itself. That means X will pay tax in India as well as Germany, both places. तो फिर वापस वो juridical double taxation हो जाएगा. But right now X is paying only in Germany because of residence and India में अब तक DDT है, November 20 तक है, May 21 में निकले. You know, कभी भी law का provision आता है income tax में. Our mind as a CA student will not say which year this provision is applicable. For us, what is more important is which attempt this provision is applicable. So right now, India में company will pay DDT, Germany में X will pay when the same income is taxed twice, but in the hands of two people, that will become economic double taxation. Next, bilateral relief will be available for juridical, economic, both or none. If you remember the ऐसे जैसे कि आपको clearly पता होना चाहिए, you have to study all the chapters then come to the MCQ lecture. Economic double taxation में from your pocket tax has gone only once. आपके पॉकेट से तो एक ही बार गया है. तो इकोनॉमिक डबल टैक्सेशन में आपको कोई रिलीफ ना बायलैटरल ना यूनिलैटरल कुछ भी नहीं मिलेगा. सो वेन एवर रिलीफ विल बी अवेलेबल इट विल बी अवेलेबल ओनली अगेंस्ट ज्यूरिडिकल डबल टैक्सेशन. इकोनॉमिक में कभी नहीं मिलेगा. बट वेन इट कम्स टू यूनिलैटरल रिलीफ, अगेन मैं एक बार आपको यूनिलैटरल रिलीफ के कंडीशंस याद दिला देता हूं. फर्स्ट, most important assessee has to be a resident. Bilateral relief will be as per treaty, but when there is no treaty, then unilateral relief will be available. Most important condition, you have to be a resident, earning income outside India, you have paid tax outside India, and there is no DTAA. Because if there was DTAA, then we will take bilateral relief. Because there is no DTAA, we will take unilateral relief. And based on that is our next question. Unilateral relief is available to resident, non-resident, both or none. अभी तो बोला unilateral relief is available only to a resident. Correct? That means can I say non-residents will not get unilateral relief? चलिए. Question 6. A non-resident loses what? Relief under section 91? Just आपको पता होना चाहिए. Unilateral relief is only section 91. That means definitely non-resident will lose this. This is definitely the correct answer. But you should always see all options. Unexhausted basic exemption remit against LTCG. अगर आपको याद है तो कल के लेक्चर में भी वो जो सबसे कॉम्प्लिकेटेड सम था उसमें आपको बताया था रेसिडेंट इंडिविजुअल, रेसिडेंट एचयूएफ, ओनली टू पीपल, ओनली अगेंस्ट थ्री इनकम्स. विच थ्री इनकम्स? 111 है, 112, 112 है. लॉन्ग टर्म कैपिटल गेन ऑब्वियसली या तो 112 होगा या 112A होगा. तो दैट मींस कैन आई से दिस दैट अ नॉन रेसिडेंट विल लूज दिस ऑल्सो because this is also available only to resident individual, resident HUF. This is also available only to resident. और ये भी हमने कल के लेक्चर में डिस्कस किया था. Whenever you are a senior citizen or a higher or very senior citizen, you get higher basic exemption. At 60 years you get 3 lakh. At 80 years you get 5 lakh. But always only if you are a resident. मतलब non resident बनते ही unilateral relief भी चला जाएगा, unexhausted basic exemption limit भी चला जाएगा, higher basic exemption for senior citizen भी चला जाएगा. Obviously then in that case when everything is right then the answer is going to be D. Just आपको थोड़ा एक्स्ट्रा भी बता देता हूं. Chapter 6 से certain sections we get higher deduction, like instead of 80 TTA we get TTB for senior citizen. In you see mediclaim section or 80 double D section, disabled dependent, we get not double D, DDB when you are doing treatment of specified diseases. Certain sections of chapter 6A we get higher deduction of senior citizen, in all cases only if you are a resident. Rebate under 87A only if you are a resident. Senior citizens are not required to pay advance tax if they don't have business income. Only if resident 6 years not having PGBP. That means the moment you become non-resident, obviously these three you are going to lose. So here the answer is all of the above, but there are a lot of other problems also. There are a lot of other tax benefits also that you are going to lose the moment you become a non-resident. Very good. Next, question 7. Condition for unilateral relief is assessee should be a resident, tax should be paid in a foreign country, no DTAA, all of the above. See, this we already discussed. Abhi do question pehle. Resident most important, income outside India, tax outside India, and no DTAA. That means, can I say again, the answer is going to be all of the above. Question number 8. In order to claim relief under the tax treaty, treaty का मतलब bilateral हो गया. Treaty है means bilateral, no? When there is no treaty, no DTAA, then only we come to unilateral. A non-resident should have what? Business presence in India, then you will get it. Permanent account number in India, tax residency certificate, or should produce his income tax return filed in the home country. हमने ये पढ़ा है, जस्ट कि हमको याद आता है क्या? Whenever you claim DTAA benefit by virtue of being a resident of that foreign country. देखिए यहां पे आप नॉन रेजिडेंट है, मतलब वहां पे आप रेजिडेंट होंगे, तो उस कंट्री से लिखवा के लेके गेट इट इन राइटिंग फ्रॉम दैट कंट्री दैट दिस फेलो हैज बिकम अ रेजिडेंट ओवर हियर, ही हैज पेड tax over here, and that certificate is going to be called your tax residency certificate. Whether you have PAN or you don't have PAN, whether you file ROI over there in that country or no, but you need to bring your tax residency certificate. Correct? Question number 9, calculation based question. This will show you the real beauty of MCQs. Definitely a 2-mark question, and so many places where you can go wrong. So many places. Very tough question that way, just for 2 marks. Let's see. Samrat, resident in India, has earned income of 4 lakh by way of lump sum consideration for copyright of book from a publisher in country E, with which India does not have a DTAA. Does not have a DTAA. Whenever India does not have a DTAA, then there is only one way to get relief. And what is that? Unilateral. And the most important condition that you have to check for that is assessee has to be a resident. That means indirectly this is a hint. That question is based on unilateral relief. This question is on unilateral relief. Correct or no? Let's see what they give after this. The same has been taxed at a flat rate of 15% in that country. What is the rate of tax applied by that country? 15%. 15%. In India, his gross total income is 12 lakh. The double taxation relief available is, and they have given you 4 options. They have given you 4 options out here. Whenever there is question on unilateral relief, do you remember the system? Do you remember the system? We have to calculate total income in India, tax liability in India, average rate of tax in India, foreign rate already given to us in the question. Whichever is lower will be your eligible rate, and doubly taxed income included in NTTI, doubly taxed income included in NTTI into lower of the 2 rates will become your relief. So let's come to the calculation. First calculation based question of the day. Let us see. First step is always going to be calculation of net taxable total income in India. Now if you observe carefully, the question has given you income of rupees 12 lakh. कितना income दिया? 12 lakh. But ध्यान से देखो, this is gross total income. Look at the words in the question, and this is where you will go wrong. ये GTI है, और हम लोग टैक्स ना GTI के ऊपर नहीं करते, हम लोग टैक्स ना net taxable total income के ऊपर. Tax is calculated on NTTI. Whenever you get income from copyrights up to a maximum of rupees 3 lakh, you will get deduction under 80 QQB. And after taking that deduction of 3 lakh, your NTTI is going to be 9 lakh rupees. अगर आप इंडिया में टैक्स पे करोगे बिफोर रिलीफ आपका जो इंडिया में टैक्स आएगा वो 9 लाख रुपीस के ऊपर आएगा. 9 लाख रुपीस. तो ऑलरेडी यहां पे 2 पॉसिबल मिस्टेक. आई टेल यू द पॉसिबल मिस्टेक्स, विच इज वाई शायद आपका आंसर और सजेस्टेड आंसर मैच नहीं कर. फर्स्ट इफ यू फॉरगेट दिस, बिकॉज क्वेश्चन ने जीटीआई दिया, अगर आपने 12 लाख के ऊपर डायरेक्टली टैक्स कर दिया, दैट इज रॉन्ग, नो. एंड सेकेंड वन मोर पॉसिबल मिस्टेक विच इज मोर लाइकली, आपने सोचा कि ये जो आपको 12 लाख रुपीस दिया है ना, ये इंडियन इनकम है. इफ यू फील दैट दिस 12 लाख इज इंडियन इनकम, देन व्हाट यू विल एंड अप डूइंग, सॉरी मुझे कट करना पड़ा था बिकॉज समबडी वॉज कॉलिंग कंटिन्यूसली, बहुत गाली खाया. नेवर कॉल मी कंटिन्यूसली प्लीज, आई हेट इट. ओके, हाँ. सो व्हाट मिस्टेक यू कैन मेक हियर इज, इफ यू ऑब्जर्व केयरफुली, ये आपको इंडियन इनकम नहीं बोला है, जीटीआई बोला है. दैट मीन्स इन दिस 12 लाख इंडियन इनकम प्लस फॉरेन इनकम दोनों इंक्लूड हो गया है. तो आप यहां पे ही दो टाइप का मिस्टेक कर सकते हो. वन, इफ यू फॉरगेट दिस, और सेकेंड व्हाट यू मे थिंक इज, वो जो 12 लाख है वो इंडियन इनकम है, सो यू मेक दिस 15 माइनस 3 इक्वल टू 12. दो मिस्टेक इधर ही हो सकता है. 12 लाख में फॉरेन इनकम ऑलरेडी आ गया बिकॉज इट इज ग्रॉस टोटल इनकम, लेकिन डिडक्शन देना बाकी है. वर्ड्स को देखो क्वेश्चन में, मैं इसी क्वेश्चन को मॉडिफाई करके अगर इसको नेट इनकम करूं, मतलब डिडक्शन भी हो गया. अगर मैं इसको मॉडिफाई करके इंडियन इनकम करूं, तो आपको 3 लाख ऐड भी करना पड़ेगा, माइनस भी करना पड़ेगा. यू हैव टू बी वेरी केयरफुल एंड एनीथिंग एल्स इज रॉन्ग. एंड बाय द वे, वो ही मेरे दूसरे ऑप्शंस होंगे. मेरे रॉन्ग ऑप्शन को बहुत केयरफुली चूज किया गया, बहुत केयरफुली चूज किया गया. आर यू फॉलोइंग? सो कैन आई से टैक्स इन इंडिया विल बी कैलकुलेटेड ऑन 9 लाख. चलिए कैलकुलेट कीजिए. एज नहीं दिया मतलब नॉर्मल स्लैब्स यू विल अप्लाई. सो अप टू 250 नथिंग, देन 5 लाख तक आपका लगेगा 12,500 and 4 lakh का 20%. These are the slabs till November 20 attempt. 90 to 500 is the basic tax. 90 to 500. There will not be any surcharge because less than 50 lakh. No rebate because more than 5 lakh. Just add HEC. You will get 96,200 as your Indian tax liability without relief. और क्वेश्चन ने आपसे क्या पूछा है? क्वेश्चन आपसे पूछना है फाइंड आउट द रिलीफ अमाउंट. तो आपको रिलीफ का अमाउंट कैलकुलेट करके देना. फाइंड आउट द अमाउंट ऑफ relief. What is going to be the average rate of tax in India? 96,200 divided by 9 lakh. That's 10.69% और 10.68888 आपका आ रहा है. तो एंड फॉरेन का आपको रेट दिया है क्वेश्चन के अंदर. फॉरेन रेट हैज बीन गिवन टू यू एट 15%. ऑब्वियसली इस रेट के ऊपर आपको आपका रिलीफ मिलेगा, फॉरेन रेट के ऊपर, फॉरेन रेट. एंड What is going to be your relief? अगेन यहां पे भी मिस्टेक है. आपकी फॉरेन इनकम कितनी है? 4 लाख. अगर आपने 4 लाख के ऊपर 10.69 दिया, अगर आपने 4 लाख के ऊपर 10.69 दिया तो वो रॉन्ग है. डबली टैक्स इनकम इंक्लूडेड इन एनटीटीआई इज ओनली 1 लाख रुपीज, क्योंकि 3 लाख का तो आपने डिडक्शन ले लिया. यहां पे जो स्टूडेंट्स मिस्टेक करते थे वो 12 के अंदर 4 ऐड करते थे, 3 नहीं, बिकॉज फॉरेन इनकम 4 लाख है, डिडक्शन 1 लाख है. सो इफ यू डोंट टेक दिस डिडक्शन यू कैन गो रॉन्ग. अगर आप यहां पे 4 लाख ऐड कर दोगे देन ऑल्सो यू आर रॉन्ग बिकॉज जीटीआई में 4 लाख हो चुका है. अगर आप यहां पे 4 लाख का 10.69 लोगे तो यू आर रॉन्ग बिकॉज इफ यू हैव टेकन डिडक्शन दैट मीन्स इन योर इनकम ओनली 1 लाख इज इंक्लूडेड एंड अकॉर्डिंगली 10,690 इज योर ओनली करेक्ट आंसर. One word, if you don't read carefully, you can go wrong. That's the beauty of MCQs. Rather, should I say, that's the danger of MCQs. चलिए, question number 10. Where a person resident in India derives income from a nation with which India does not have a DTAA. Does not have, मतलब bilateral तो नहीं मिलेगा. फिर unilateral, credit unilateral कैसे मिलता है? Let's read the options. Entire tax paid in the foreign country is allowed as a deduction. क्या पूरा मिलता है? Obviously नहीं, wrong option. Tax paid in the foreign country on income which is doubly taxed is allowed as a deduction. फॉरेन के अंदर जो इनकम है उसके ऊपर जो डबली टैक्स लगा है उसके ऊपर वो जो फॉरेन में टैक्स भरा उसका रिलीफ मिलेगा नहीं. व्हाट इज द रूल? वहां का टैक्स और यहां का टैक्स, इंडियन टैक्स और फॉरेन टैक्स, विच एवर इज लोअर. सो बी इज ऑल्सो रॉन्ग. टैक्स पेड ऑन इनकम विच इज डबली टैक्स इज अलाउड एज अ डिडक्शन एट द इंडियन रेट. अगेन रॉन्ग बिकॉज आई राइट नाउ टोल्ड यू द आंसर. इंडिया का रेट, फॉरेन का रेट, विच एवर इज lower. Tax paid on income which is doubly tax is allowed as a deduction at the Indian rate of tax or at the rate of tax in the foreign country, whichever is lower. इधर का टैक्स या उधर का टैक्स, whichever is lower. Next, ABC Limited, an Indian company, paid a dividend distribution tax under section 1150 in respect of dividend distributed by it to its resident and non-resident shareholders. Mr. John, a shareholder of ABC Limited, is and a resident of country X, has to pay tax in country X on dividend received by him from ABC Limited as per the domestic tax laws of the country. Obviously वहां का resident होगा तो. This is an example of repeat question है. ICAI के अंदर 2 बार आया होगा तो कभी कभी ऐसा हो सकता है. So obviously same income but different people. So economic double taxation. Which of the following is a method of providing bilateral relief? Bilateral relief हमको पता है 2 मेथड से मिलता है. What are the 2 methods of providing relief under bilateral? Tax credit method, where both countries will take tax, one will give you credit. Tax exemption method, one will take tax, other will exempt. That means can I say both methods do exist? Both methods do exist, yes or no? चलिए. In case of contradiction between the act and DTAA, whenever act और DTAA contradict करता है, whenever they are not matching, do you remember the provision? देखिए अगर आपको provision पता है तो आप हमेशा आंसर राइट दोगे. Whenever there is contradiction, what will happen? Act will be considered superior or DTAA, whichever is beneficial. Act will prevail, no. DTAA, no. Whichever is beneficial, whichever is beneficial. Dividend from Indian company is exempt in the hands of non-resident shareholder by virtue of 1034 November 20 तक. Can such income be subject to tax in the hands in accordance with the provisions of the tax treaty? इंडिया में एक्ट के हिसाब से एग्जाम्प्ट है, बट ट्रीटी इज सेइंग टैक्सेबल. सो अगेन व्हाट विल हैपन? एक्ट और ट्रीटी, whichever is beneficial. Even if treaty is saying it is taxable, has the act clearly given you exemption? And if the act has clearly given you exemption, since whichever is more beneficial to the assessee shall apply, whichever is more beneficial, and therefore you don't have to pay tax. And which of the following statement reflects the incorrect position? बहुत ध्यान से आपको पढ़ना चाहिए. इसमें से कौन सा करेक्ट है वो नहीं बोला है, कौन सा रॉन्ग है. इसमें से which out of this is false you have to find out. The false statement here is the correct answer. False statement is the correct answer. बहुत ध्यान से देखना, करेक्ट बोला नहीं तो क्या होगा पता है. Suppose English C is the wrong statement, then C should be your answer. Example है ना, we are yet to read. Then C will be your answer. But if you don't read, आपको लगेगा A is true, so A is the answer. No. You have to find out what is false. Let's see. Domestic tax laws are irrelevant while considering application of the provisions of DTAA. Domestic tax laws are irrelevant? No. We already saw last few questions that domestic rates or DTAA, whichever is beneficial. So apparently A looks like the right answer because it is wrong. But you should always check the other options before coming to a conclusion. Provision of Income Tax Act empower the union government to enter into tax treaties. Yes, that is what is provided in section 90 also. So that's true. So that cannot be the answer. Provision of DTAA overrides the provision of domestic tax laws unless the matter is more beneficial. Yes, if it is beneficial, then whichever is beneficial, otherwise DTAA. So that statement is also true. Cannot be our answer. In the absence of DTAA, domestic tax laws provide unilateral relief to tackle double taxation. Yes, they do. We know that it provides only to a resident, but in the absence of DTAA it does happen. So the statement is true. Effectively, as we already concluded earlier, never give the answer before reading all the options. एक बार आपको सारे के सारे ऑप्शन तो रीड कर ही लेने चाहिए. It is always advisable that you read the options before coming to your conclusion. Are we clear about this? Excellent. चलिए, let's go ahead. Next, I am going in the order of my textbook. If there is any intermediate student watching, then let me clarify. Your non-resident NRI taxation chapter, which will be after this chapter, will have your provisions relating to आपका residential status and all that. But for now, we are talking about a chapter called cash loans. Cash loans. Question 1. Suppose Mr. Naveen is an employee working in public sector. What will be the consequence of the following transaction for AY 2021? He repaid a loan in cash of rupees 24,000 which he took from his friend for higher studies. Disallowance under 40A3. No, he is an employee. There cannot be PGBP. Disallowance comes in PGBP. Penalty under 271E of 24,000 due to violation of 269T. 269T. No person shall repay any loan, advance or deposit when the amount before repayment is 20,000 or more. Exact 20 is also covered. Otherwise, 100% of the amount repaid will be your penalty. Not just the excess over 20,000, but the entire amount will be your penalty. So apparently B looks like the right answer, but let's see. Penalty 19,000 is wrong because 100% means 24. No disallowance or penalty since the principal amount is less than 24,000. कौन बोला principal is less than? कुछ भी nonsense. B. 100% of the amount repaid in contravention. कहीं गलती से आपको ये तो नहीं लगा कि public sector? अरे listen, Assessee is not a public sector company. Assessee is Mr. Naveen. So he is covered in 269 SS and 269 T both. Question number 2. Section 269 SS provides that no person shall take or accept any loan of rupees dash otherwise than by way of account pay, check, account pay, draft, electronic mode or use of ECS. What is that amount? What is the monetary limit of 269 SS? What is the monetary limit? 20,000 or more? Yes or no? 20,000 is the limit. 20,000 also not allowed. Perfect. Next. Miss Meenal tool नहीं took है. छोटा मोटा printing mistake रहेगा ये कोई obviously human involvement is there. Miss Meenal took a loan of 21,000 in cash from Jain Cooperative Bank. Penalty leviable for violating 269 SS. Cash loan 21,000. 100% penalty? You think so? No. Whenever the loan is taken from or by government company, statutory corporation, bank, lender, borrower, both agriculturist, any other notified, then in that case the section is not going to be applicable. It is an exception, and when you are in exception, obviously there cannot be penalty. The provision of 269 SS is not applicable. Not applicable means, can I say no penalty? On whom? Mr. Mukesh Ambani. This is how I choose my options. Central government employee, assessee having income below the basic exemption, or notified institution. Definitely there is no place in the law where they make a lot of laws for Mr. Ambani, but they have specifically not mentioned his name anywhere. So Mukesh Ambani तो आंसर नहीं हो सकता. सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट पे नहीं लगता है लेकिन उसके एम्प्लॉय के ऊपर लगता है. So B is not the answer. Assessee having income below basic exemption, irrespective, you have to still comply with 269 SS and 269 T. And then do we know in the exceptions we do have any other person notified, and therefore that being the correct answer. This is one answer where the less famous option is actually the correct answer, but yes, that's the right answer. Provision of 269 SS is not applicable on a transaction done through, see, listen, the allowable modes are account pay check, account pay draft, electronic mode through bank account or other prescribed modes. But in some of the case laws that we studied in the chapter, in one of the case laws we studied that bank transfer vouchers are going to be allowed because transaction is happening through banking channel. That means cash is not allowed, cross check is not allowed, bearer check is not allowed, but this is allowed, and therefore 269 SS will not be applicable. Very good. Question number 6. The AO has the power to invoke penalty under section 271D for violation of 269 SS. We know that 100% penalty under 271D. Concealment penalty if he finds your explanation as invalid or incorrect or insufficient. Both of them or any one of them. Of course, he can live with this, but in the chapter हमने ये पढ़ा है वो कभी भी लाइफ में दोनों नहीं लगा सकता. He can always levy only one of them. Always levy only one of them. Next, X made a fixed deposit of rupees 12,000 with a non-banking finance company on 1st April 2019 in cash. Thereafter, he made another FD of 7,500 with the same NBFC on 1st August 2019 by bearer check. On 31st March 20, he made yet another FD of 8,000 with the same NBFC. Which of the following statements are correct? Penalty under 271D is attracted at the time of acceptance of, first of all, X is not accepting the deposit, the NBFC is accepting the deposit. Don't forget that. Okay. Penalty under 271D is attracted at the time of acceptance of the second deposit. Again, wrong. First is only 12, second is 7,500, still the total is 19,500. Is attracted at the time of third deposit, where you are crossing 20,000. That probably might appear to you as the correct answer, but my dear students, again, can I say assessee in banking business? And therefore, penalty is not going to be attracted is your correct option. Penalty will not be attracted. And finally, Sardar Patel NBFC gave a loan for which total repayment is 2,50,000, which is to be made in cash of each installment of 15,000. How much penalty? Again, can I say involvement of banking channel, NBFC, finance corporation, and therefore exception to the chapter, no penalty. So very easy questions. You may not expect any of these questions in your exam. But now again we come to a very important chapter, that is NRI taxation. Why is NRI taxation important chapter? Because it is a part of international tax. The moment you come and learn a provision of non-resident, the moment you come to the provision of non-resident, automatically it will become a chapter of a question of international tax. The moment a section uses the term non-resident, it will become a case of international tax. Directly वो international tax का case बन जाएगा. Okay? And also relevant for paper 6 because 70% portion is common. तो चलिए let's see. And this is one chapter which again is relevant for IPCC and intermediate students also. चलिए देखते हैं क्या बोल. Question number 1. To become resident, following conditions to be satisfied. What are the conditions? 182 days in the current year or 60 days in the current year and 365 days in the last 4 years. दोनों में से कोई एक भी हुआ तो you will become a resident. We are only asked about resident. Then what is the condition for ordinary resident? 2 conditions, and here you have to do both. Resident in at least 2 out of last 10 years and last 7 years minimum 730 days. Here you have to do both. Correct? ये provision था. Let's see the options. First they are saying stay in India for 182 days or more during the previous year. Yes, it is a condition. Stay in India for 365 days or more during 4 years immediately preceding the previous year. Yes. Stay in India for 60 days or more during the previous year. Please आप गलती से ये मत सोच लेना that these are your options. No, option तो नीचे दिया है. ABCD option ये है. Between these conditions, which word you will apply? Which word? And or and or. Do you know that the condition is 182 or 60 in the current year and 365 in the last 4 years. और यहाँ पे ABC के अंदर 365 पहले दिया है. 365 and 60 in the current year. And therefore, can I say that between A and B we will use the word or, and between B and C we will use the word and therefore B is your correct. देखिए, these conditions are very easy. If you had to choose between them तो easy था, but condition को तो question में डाला है और options कुछ और ही है. Option तो ये है, and in this is going to be your correct answer. Understood? चलिए. Residential status of an assessee must be ascertained every year, only once lifetime, every 2 years or every 5 years. Whenever your residential status will depend on number of days that you have spent in India, obviously residential status has to be determined every year. Miss Rosemary Smith, a citizen of Canada, came to India after 10 years on 5th June 2019 and left India on 3rd December 2019. She is dash for FY 1920. ROR, non-resident, RNOR, or cannot be determined. Obviously, fourth answer cannot be the correct answer. We have to decide because we have number of days. So when did she come? 5th June, and she left on 3rd December, and she has come after 10 years. That means definitely till last year or last 10 years the stay will be 0. Let's first decide what is the rule for current year. What is her stay? If current year she has crossed 182, then only she can become resident, because with 60 she won't meet 365. तो वो condition तो fulfill नहीं होने वाला है. Let's see. 5th June she came. So that's your question number 3 of chapter 4. 5th June she came. That means, can I say in the month of June you will take 30 days minus 4. The day she has come, that has to be included. That day when she came to India, that day will be included. That means, can I say 26 days? Then July 31, August 31, you can count if you don't understand. September 30, October 31, November 30, and I think December she has left on 3rd. Chaliye, let's calculate. 26 plus 31 plus 31 plus 30 plus 31 plus 30 plus 3. Oh, let us confirm, because it is coming to a very, very exact cut to cut number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 150, 150, 1, 2, 3, 156 plus 26. Oh my, exact 182. एग्जैक्ट 182. अगर आप सोच रहे थे कि यार फाइनल में रेजिडेंशियल स्टेटस का क्वेश्चन, फाइनल में रेजिडेंशियल स्टेटस, नाउ सी exact 182. This is the test. Is exact 182 also covered? Absolutely yes, and therefore she has become a resident. If this was one day also less, then she would have become directly non-resident, because 182 is not satisfied, and even if she is satisfying 60, last 4 years it is 0 because she has come after 10 years. That means she is resident, and obviously she is not satisfying any of the additional conditions, because last 7 years 0 hai, last 10 years everything is 0. That means resident but not ordinarily resident becomes our final answer, which I think is your option C. Are you followed? One day here and there can make massive difference. Question number 4. Mr. Rustam Pavri, an Indian citizen, left India on 27 June. Matlab he is leaving on 27 June. Means from April he was in India only. April 30, May 31 and June 27. As a crew member of Indian ship, Rustam Pavri Akshay Kumar. He has been in India from 1/4/16 to 27 June 2019. Obviously, current year will start on 1st April 19. And before that we will see the past years. So current year we will see only this much. What is his status for the financial year 1920? Let's do his computation. First always check current year. That's your question number 4. Current year. Can I say April 30 days? May 31 and June 27, no? 27 June. 27, that's 8 and 3, 6, 88 days. 88 days. That means he is satisfying, definitely he is not satisfying 182, but he is satisfying 60 days. And then last 4 years 365. No, crew member of Indian ship and a person coming to India for visit. 2 people, 63, 65 not applicable, it is an exception. So these people can become resident only if it is 182, and if they are not satisfying the condition of 182 days, directly non-resident, because 63, 65 condition is not applicable for these assessees. कुछ याद आया? Remember, or my South India Kerala students say Ormi Ondo, means do you remember? They talk in Malayalam. Ormi Ondo. Do you remember? Very good. Question number 5. Mr. Abhishek stayed in territorial waters of India in a ship during the month of April, June, July, October, November, December and March for the financial year 1920. He is what? Resident, non-resident, cannot be determined as he stayed in the territorial waters, none of the above. None cannot be the answer. Remember, any stay in the territorial waters of India, India will include territorial waters, 12 nautical miles. That will also be counted as stay in India. So all you are required to do is check the total stay of these months, because territorial waters is also counted as stay in India. So can I say 30 plus 30, 60, 31, October is 31, November is 30, December and March are both 31. So let's just add them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 months and multiply by 30 is already 210, plus you have 11, 12, 13, 14. I think it is coming to 214, but whatever it is, 1 day plus minus, it is definitely more than 182 though. And because it is definitely more than 182, your answer is obviously going to be resident in India. Answer is obviously going to be resident. Question number 6. Condition of ordinarily and not ordinarily resident should be checked for individual HUF, all persons except company, all persons, or firm AOP, BOI or company. Yesterday also I told you, I don't know whether you remember, आपको फिर याद दिला देता हूँ. Ordinary, not ordinary is applicable only for 2 assessees, individual HUF. For all other assessees, firm, AOP, company, it is resident या non-resident. Ordinary, not ordinary का फंडा ही apply नहीं करेगा, and therefore your answer is going to be A. Question number 7. Income that would be taxable in the hands of resident but not ordinarily resident. RNOR. See, Indian income is taxable for everybody. Foreign income cannot be taxable for non-resident, but the rule for RNOR, this is actually IPCC level question. If you have foreign income but the business is controlled from India, then that foreign income will be taxable. So see, ROR, everything is taxable. Non-resident only Indian income is taxable, but our NOR, Indian income, is taxable because that is taxable for everyone, and foreign income if it is controlled from India. That's the rule. Indian income always taxable, foreign income if controlled from India. Let's see the options. Indian income taxable, foreign income if controlled from India taxable. That means obviously our answer will be both A and B. All income cannot be the answer because foreign income controlled from outside India is not taxable for our NOR and non-resident. Okay. One of the conditions to be satisfied for resident and ordinarily resident. So they are asking from the additional conditions. There are two. Resident in at least 2 out of last 10 years and 730 days in last 7 years. Let's see. They want only one. Let's see which one is the option. Stay in India for last 7 years preceding the relevant previous year. 365. No. Wrong answer. 730. That's only the right answer, but just check. 60 or 700. Obviously. 7 years. 730 days, obviously that is going to be your answer. Next, Mr. Suresh, a non-resident, received commission of 80 lakh from an Indian company. From where are you earning? From an Indian company, that means from a resident. This 80 lakh is remitted by him to his sister, Sushma, resident. So see, supposingly I am Suresh, I am earning and I am giving the money to my sister, say you keep it. In whose hands this 80 lakh will be? Taxable. Whose hands? Obviously, who is the assessee earning income? Suresh, and therefore income has to be taxable in the hands of Suresh. Though Sushma is a resident, but that is not the criteria here. She is not earning income, she is just getting money from her brother. Who is the person earning income? Suresh, and even if he is a non-resident, the source is in India and therefore he has to pay tax. It cannot be equal also, it has to be Suresh. Question number 10. The provisions of NRI taxation chapter. NRI taxation. This is the chapter which we are actually doing. Till now we were only doing residential status question. 115C to 115I is the chapter. Provisions of NRI taxation. Special rates are, do we all know it is optional? In fact, the chapter after this, that is special rates of tax, that is compulsory. But NRI taxation is optional. Yes or no? For the beneficial provisions of this chapter, assessee should be. Who is the assessee covered in this chapter, NRI taxation? Individual, citizen of India or person of Indian origin, non-resident, or all of the above. Remember the start of NRI taxation. Specific assessee, specific income, combo hua, then only special rate, which is optional. What was the definition of specific assessee? 3 conditions. Individual, citizen of India or person of Indian origin, any one of them, and non-resident. 3 conditions. That means, can I say all the above conditions are to be satisfied? Yes or no? What was the specific income? Investment income and LTCG from forex asset. And what is forex asset? Shares of an Indian company, debentures and deposits both of public company, securities of central government and any other notified. That's the next question. Forex asset. Shares of private company. See, Indian company bola hai. So whether public, private, listed, unlisted doesn't matter. So this is definitely one of the answers. But always check all the options. I have told you. Securities issued by the state government, both or none. सुनिए, अगर ये state government नहीं central government होता ना तो both होता. Because it is central government securities. Because it is state government, this is wrong. And because this is wrong, both cannot be the answer. And शायद आप नन भी लिख लो अगर आपको लगेगा प्राइवेट कंपनी नॉट कवर्ड देन यू मे प्रोबेबली चूज नन आल्सो बट दैट इज रॉन्ग बिकॉज शेयर्स इज कवर्ड. शेयर्स वेदर लिस्टेड अनलिस्टेड पब्लिक प्राइवेट डजंट मेक अ डिफरेंस. तो सुनिए, अगर ये क्वेश्चन में ये स्टेट गवर्नमेंट कट होकर सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट हो जाएगा ना, देन योर आंसर विल बी बोथ. देन योर आंसर विल बी बोथ. अगर ये स्टेट गवर्नमेंट ही रहता है और यहां पे हमने ऐसा चेंज कर दिया डिबेंचर्स ऑफ अ प्राइवेट कंपनी, देन योर आंसर विल बी नन. बिकॉज वो दोनों अलाउड नहीं. यू नीड टू बी क्लियर अबाउट द लॉ प्रॉपरली बिकॉज वन वर्ड इफ यू डोंट नो यू विल एंड अप लूजिंग मार्क्स. ये इतना इजी नहीं है जितना आप इसको समझ रहे थे. I hope you are understanding what I am saying. So private company shares are covered, but state government securities are not covered. So both cannot be the answer, and none is also not the answer because shares of private company covered. Very good. An NRI opting for 10% tax on LTCG. NRI opting for 10% tax on LTCG under 115E वही section है जिसमें rates दिया shall lose the benefit of. What will you lose? Basic exemption. हमको पता है ना, special rates, no basic exemption, and non-resident को नहीं मिलता है, resident can still utilize. You lose chapter 6 से against all incomes taxable at special rate. Transfer expenses देखिए इन्वेस्टमेंट इनकम के सामने यू विल नॉट गेट डिडक्शन ऑफ एक्सपेंस, बट कैपिटल गेन के सामने मिलेगा, सो दैट मींस दिस इज नॉट करेक्ट. यू विल गेट एन इंडेक्सेशन, यू विल लूज. दैट मींस कैन आई से यू विल लूज 1, 2 एंड 4. और ये ऑप्शन नहीं है, ऑप्शन तो नीचे है. यू विल लूज ऑल नहीं, क्योंकि 3 मिलेगा. रॉन्ग आंसर. यू विल लूज 1, 2 एंड 4. सो आई थिंक अपेरेंटली 2 is the B is the right answer. 1, 2, 3 नहीं, 1, 3, 4 नहीं, 3 मिलेगा. ट्रांसफर एक्सपेंस कैपिटल गेन्स में मिलता है. दैट मींस यू आर गोइंग टू लूज 1, 2 एंड 4 एंड अकॉर्डिंगली प्लीज खाली आपको इतना समझना पड़ेगा कि ये जो 1, 2, 3 दिया है ये ऑप्शन नहीं है, ऑप्शन ये है ABCD, ऑप्शन ये है. एंड इन दैट योर करेक्ट आंसर इज गोइंग टू बी 1, 2 एंड 4 एंड देयरफॉर ऑप्शन B becomes योर करेक्ट आंसर. समझा क्या? क्वेश्चन 14. टैक्स रेट्स ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट इनकम विल बी डैश एंड LTCG विल बी डैश. क्या टैक्स रेट दिया? ऑब्वियसली सब्जेक्ट टू SC HEC. इन्वेस्टमेंट इनकम का 20 एंड LTCG का 10. तो 20, 10 किधर दिया? फर्स्ट ब्लैंक इज 20 एंड सेकंड ब्लैंक इज 10. वेरी इजी क्वेश्चन. नेक्स्ट, एन NRI ऑप्टिंग फॉर 10% ऑन इन्वेस्टमेंट इनकम विल लूज. देखिए इन्वेस्टमेंट इनकम में बेसिक एग्जाम्पशन चैप्टर 6 से और एक्सपेंसेस का भी डिडक्शन नहीं मिलता है. द ओनली डिफरेंस बिटवीन LTCG and investment income is in LTCG you get deduction of expense, you don't get indexation, and in investment income there is no indexation but you won't get deduction of expenses. So basic exemption भी जाएगा, 6 से भी जाएगा and expenses भी जाएगा. Accordingly I feel that the answer will come to A. Yes or no? अरे समझ में आता है क्या मित्रों? चलिए क्वेश्चन नंबर 16. To get full exemption under section 115F, assessee should invest in another forex asset. 115F ऐसा ही है ना? You've sold one forex asset, acquire another forex asset. Time limit के ऊपर क्वेश्चन है. And again, if you have not studied एकदम डिटेल के अंदर, then probably you may go wrong. The time limit is 6 months from the date of transfer. जो old asset बेचा है उससे 6 months. So 6 months from date of transfer is the first option. From the end of the year is wrong and 1 year तो है ही नहीं. This is going to be the answer. सिंपल है. लॉ याद है तो आंसर आएगा, अगर लॉ याद नहीं है तो आंसर नहीं आएगा. एंड इसलिए वो जो फर्स्ट लेक्चर मैंने अपलोड किया था और एक स्टूडेंट ने कमेंट किया दैट सर प्लीज गिव अस द चैप्टर नेम्स बिफोर हैंड सो दैट वी कैन रिवाइज, बिकॉज विदाउट रिविजन MCQ लेक्चर्स आर नॉट ऑफ एनी यूज. आपको प्रोविजन ही याद नहीं है तो कुछ समझेगा ही नहीं. एंड आई फाउंड इट अ वेरी वेरी प्रॉपर एंड वैलिड एंड जेन्युइन suggestion and I am definitely going to incorporate. I don't have that ego कि student is saying why I should listen. If my student is suggesting something worth it, something very very sensible, I always listen to my students' request. I have always done that, all my life I have done that. Okay. Question number 17. To get full exemption under section 115F, assessee should invest the amount of, what should you invest? Gross sale consideration amount, capital gain amount, NSC amount or cost of acquisition? When do you get full exemption? If entire net sale consideration is invested, entire capital gain is exempt, otherwise proportionate. NSC, GSC नहीं हो सकता क्योंकि ट्रांसफर एक्सपेंस होता है यहाँ पे, and gain amount नहीं, sale amount and therefore net sale consideration. Assessee is not required to file ROI even if his income exceeds basic exemption. 4 सेक्शन है इस चैप्टर में 115G एंड अगला चैप्टर स्पेशल रेट्स ऑफ टैक्स के अंदर वी हैव 115A, AC and BBA. Total 4 section. And what are the conditions? No other income and TDS is fully deducted. Conditions याद है? No other income and TDS is fully deducted. Then no need to file ROI. कुछ याद आया? मजा आया? मजा? तो can I say no other taxable income? Tax has been withheld. Both of them you have to satisfy in order to get the benefit. So this is going to be your answer. An assessee can opt for NRI provisions even after becoming resident till the time he holds the forex asset. After becoming resident, do you get the provision? Yes, if you were non-resident at the time of acquisition. अगर आप acquisition के time पे non-resident थे तो आपको ये benefit मिलेगा. Understood? चलिए, let's go ahead. Next chapter, chapter number 5, that is special rates of tax. Again, in this chapter also there are a lot of sections which are catering to non-resident, और जैसे ही कोई section non-resident को cater करता है, it directly becomes a part of international tax. It will be relevant for paper 6C also. चलिए देखते हैं question number 1. Question number 1. अच्छा, in the middle of this lecture, this chapter, special rates of tax, अगर हमारा 1 घंटे का ड्यूरेशन खत्म होता है तो इट विल स्टिल मेक सेंस कि हम लोग एटलीस्ट जो चैप्टर चल रहा है उसको खत्म करके लेक्चर को वाइंड अप करें. दैट ओनली मेक सेंस. ओके, सो फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन, विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग इज अ टैक्सेबल इनकम? अनएक्सप्लेन्ड कैश क्रेडिट, अनएक्सप्लेन्ड इन्वेस्टमेंट, अनएक्सप्लेन्ड मनी के ऑल ऑफ द अबव. किस पे टैक्स लगता है? अनएक्सप्लेन्ड कैश क्रेडिट, इन्वेस्टमेंट, मनी, इनफैक्ट अनएक्सप्लेन्ड एक्सपेंडिचर ऑल्सो, ऑल ऑफ देम आर टैक्सेबल, वो भी एट 60% with compulsory surcharge of 25% and HEC 4%. Can I say all of the above? Fantastic. Question number 2. An amount of 45,000 was credited in the books of Mr. Ali, for which Mr. Ali did not provide any explanation to the satisfaction of the assessing officer. Therefore, 45,000 was considered as income by the AO. The rate of basic tax payable is unexplained. Unexplained का basic tax. अभी तो बोला. What is the rate of basic tax? 60%. In fact, surcharge will be compulsory 25, irrespective of amount. 1 रुपया भी हुआ तो 25 and 4% HEC. Surcharge leviable on unexplained money. अभी तो बोला 25. Correct? Question 4. Mr. Nitin, a non-resident, sold his house property situated in Kolkata to Mr. Raj, a non-resident. One non-resident to other non-resident, but property is in India. And if the property is in India, then obviously tax will get attracted. Capital gain from this transaction is 40,50,000. Mr. Nitin also provided technical services to Manish Limited, an Indian company, which will be utilized for the purpose of its business in Singapore. Means these technical services, though provided to a resident, but where is the resident using it? Outside India. That means, पहले question पूरा कर लेते हैं. Conclusion बात. For these services, Nitin charged 10 lakh rupees. What is his income? So basically he has 40,50,000 capital gain and 10 lakh rupees FTS. You have to decide. If you say both are taxable, तो 50,50,000 आपका आंसर होएगा. Only capital gain, then 40,50,000. Only FTS, then 10 lakh and 0 as he is a non-resident. देखिए, non-resident will also pay tax on the principle of source. Is he a non-resident? That means definitely principle of residence is cancelled. अब आपको सिर्फ इतना देखना है कौन सी इनकम का सोर्स इंडिया में है. दिस 40-50 दो अपेरेंटली देखने में लग रहा है अर्नड फ्रॉम अ नॉन रेसिडेंट, बट प्रॉपर्टी इज इन इंडिया. अगर प्रॉपर्टी इंडिया में है तो टैक्सेबल होगा. एंड दिस 10 lakh अपेरेंटली इट इज प्रोवाइडेड टू अ रेसिडेंट, बट वेयर आउटसाइड इंडिया, फॉरेन इनकम नॉट टैक्सेबल. एंड दस ऑल वेरी क्लोज ऑप्शंस. 40,50,000 is taxable, but 10 lakh is not, and accordingly B can only be our right answer. अरे अंडरस्टूड. सो अगर आपने 10 लाख टैक्सेबल ले लिया तो आपका ये आंसर आ जाएगा. अगर आपको गलती से लगा कि 40-50 नॉन रेसिडेंट दोनों है तो नॉट टैक्सेबल, तो आपका 10 आंसर आ जाएगा. अगर आपने दोनों का ना बोल दिया तो आपका 0 आ जाएगा. बट दिस इज द ओनली करेक्ट ऑप्शन. लेट्स गो. मिस्टर मिहिर दर्जी. अच्छा, आई एम वेरी क्लेवर. व्हाट आई डू इज, I write name of assessee as my family members, my past students. Mihir Darji is one of my past students, a chartered accountant now, and lot of this. Next question, the name of the assessee is my sister's name. So what has happened is, since the time my IMCQ book has come, other authors are very much inspired. They have taken a lot of questions from my book. In fact, whenever I start any activity, they start copying. Just because they have more subscribers, they become a little more popular. But I am the one who started it. Now they have taken questions also. And my questions, it is my names, obviously. Mr. Mihir Darji, a non-resident, received dividend of 2,80,000 from an Indian company, commission of 3 lakh from ABC Indian LLP, and salary received in Malaysia of rupees 9 lakh for services rendered in India. What is going to be his total income that will be taxable in India? You have to decide his total income which is taxable in India. See, always analyze one by one, because a combination of this is going to be all the options. If you say everything is taxable, then it will come to 1480. If you say these two are taxable, then it will come to 1180. If you say these two are taxable, then your answer will come to 580. If you say these two are taxable, then your answer will come to 12 lakh. You have to analyze income by income, and one decision also you go wrong, then you'll choose the wrong option. My wrong options are very, very close to each other. I cannot give you one correct answer and then give you 5 crore, 6 crore, 7 crore as 3 options. Then obviously you'll know what is the correct answer. So let's see, analysis one by one. Dividend from Indian company. Can I say till November 20 it is exempt? So this is definitely not the right answer. And if this goes away, now use your brain. If this goes away, then this 280 is a part of all the three options. That way also 12 lakh appears to be the answer now, but let's analyze. 3 lakh from an Indian LLP. See, if they are saying Indian LLP, unless they mention that it was outside India, like last time they mentioned in Singapore, you have to assume that it is in India, and if it is Indian income, it will be taxable. And 9 lakh salary though received in Malaysia, but you worked where? In India. That means, can I say 3 lakh and 9 lakh both have accrued, arisen in India, and consequently 12 lakh will be your taxable income. Followed. Question number 6. Ms. Preksha Surana has earned 5 lakh in the form of royalty income from patent developed and registered in India. She earned expense of 2,60,000. She exercised the option of paying tax as per 115 BBF. What will be? See, 115 BBF is optional. In this entire chapter, that's only optional. So what will be the tax payable? Rate of tax you remember? 10%. तो चलिए देखते हैं. अगर आपने 5 minus 260, 240 पे 10% लगाया, then you will get this option, which is wrong. Because whenever an income is taxable at special rate, you won't get any deduction of expense. So 5 lakh into 10%. Again 10% लगा के फिर से आप HSC नहीं बोल सकते हो. So 5 lakh into 10% plus 4% जब आप करोगे तो आपको आपका 52,000 वाला आंसर, you will get 52,000 as your answer. अरे, are you following? Next, income by way of LTCG arising from global depository receipts, transfer of GDR will be taxable at GDR से पता है, ADR, GDR, all incomes 10%, LTCG also 10%, 7 will be C. Section 115 BBF provides that where total income of eligible assessee includes any income by way of royalty in respect of patent developed and registered in India, then such royalty will be taxable. अभी तो हमने क्वेश्चन सॉल्व किया मेरी सिस्टर का, प्रेक्षा सुराना, 10% plus HEC. Obviously they are asking you the basic rate of tax. Who is not required to pay securities transaction tax and STT and CTT? Who is exempt from levy of STT? Is company exempt? No, company is doing transaction on stock exchange, you have to pay STT. Government company also has to pay STT. Individual has to pay STT. But a unit located in IFSC, do we know huge range of tax benefits for IFSC? And one such thing is that STT is not applicable, and without STT also you get 111A and 112A. Accordingly, D will become your answer. What are the tax benefits? Right now I discussed that with you. IFSC, no STT, no DDT, still you get 111A, you get 112A. The rate of MAT will reduce from 15% to 9%. पता है ना, MAT का रेट अभी 18.5 नहीं है, it has become 15. चलिए देखते हैं. Short term capital gain at 111A, yes, this is available even if STT is not paid. Long term capital gain, yes, available. Rate of MAT will be 9 instead of 15, yes, available. No DDT, yes, and then accordingly, can I say all benefits will be available? Correct. Section 115 BBG, BUBG, not PUBG. PUBG is banned in India now. This is not PUBG. This is BUBG. BBG. Income from transfer of carbon credit. See, if you remember the provision directly, आपको आंसर, क्योंकि ज्यादा डिस्कशन नहीं होगा. Income from transfer of carbon credits. Question number 12, please. ABC Limited, Indian company, holds 27% in D Limited, a foreign company. ABC Limited received a dividend of 49,000 from D Limited and incurred an expense of 10,000. Dividend income taxable will be. What will be his taxable? What will be the taxable income? 49 full, yeah, after taking deduction, or they have given some proportion. Some people are so foolish, they apply this proportion 27%. Arey idiot, open your eyes and watch. You have received this much, means this is your 27% share already done. You can't apply 27% again on this. So the options are only two, 49 or 39. You get deduction of expense or no, these two are foolish options. 49 or 39. Whenever you hold 26% or more, can I say 115 BBD special rate of tax 15%? And whenever special rate of tax is applicable, we will not get any deduction of expense and entire amount of 49,000 will be taxable. Correct? Dividend received by Indian companies from specified foreign company as per section 115 BBD is taxed at 15%. Right now I told you. What is specified foreign company? Specified foreign company means a company in which Indian company holds how much? 26% or more. 26 or more, you start getting the benefit. Question 13a. Section 115 BBD, that is concessional rate at 15% for dividend received from specified foreign company, is applicable to which assessee? Which assessee? Specific assessee? Only to an Indian company, not applicable to individual HUF or anybody else. This is applicable only and only to Indian company. Question 15. Mr. Akhilesh, a non-resident Indian citizen, is an enthusiastic sports person and is keen on contributing an article on the game of hockey in a leading newspaper in India. He approaches you to inquire on taxability on such income for AY 2021. As per the provision of Income Tax Act, such income shall be taxable at a rate of 5%, 10%, 20% or normal slab rates. Articles 115 BBA 20% Popat. Yesterday, one of my students, after yesterday's lecture, messaged me that this Popat or South Indian students, Mandan, Pottan, Durantam, disaster, stupid idiot. I heard this from you, sir, after 7 months. It was like refreshing memories. Arey pagal, stupid idiot, disaster. 115 BBA is applicable for non-resident foreign national sportsman, sports association, entertainer. For sportsman, game or sport advertisement articles or sports association, guaranteed amount, entertainer performances, whenever the combo will not happen, normal tax rate will be applicable. These are places where you will go wrong, even if you know the law, because MCQ is altogether a different ball game that way. And I am very happy that I am able to serve students with this. Yes, 1 hour हो गया है, लेकिन ये chapter खत्म करके we will wind up. Okay. Question number 16. Mr. Sam, age 40 years, a US football match referee. Income, Calcutta High Court, याद आया? Has earned income from football tournaments in India 2021 for AY 2021. What is the TDS provision applicable? Will it be covered under 20.8, 5.2 under 194E, 195 or no TDS? Will you be covered under 194E is for 115 BBA. Will 115 BBA be applicable? Will 115 BBA be applicable? No, because it is applicable only to sportsmen. It is not applicable to referee, umpire, coach, and therefore TDS will still come. 195. 195. Understood? Question number 17. Delta Limited, a domestic company, declared dividend of 85 lakhs for the year 1819 and distributed the same on 27 June 2019. Mr. Ganesh holds 15%. So let's see, 85 lakh into 15%. Ganesh is going to get, I think Ganesh is going to get 12.75. Okay. Ganesh को 12.75 मिलेगा. हाँ दिया है, सॉरी मैं भी पागल है, पूरा पढ़ना चाहिए. Received dividend of 12.75 in June 2019. Rajesh is holding 10%. So obviously Rajesh will get 8.5, which is also given. Which of the following statement is correct? DDT is attracted in the hand of Delta Limited. Repeatedly I am saying November 20 तक DDT apply करेगा. There would be no tax on dividend received by Ganesh and Rajesh. Rajesh no tax. But do we know for Ganesh 115 BBDA on 2.75 we will have to pay 10% tax. Excess over 10 lakh. First statement is wrong. DDT is attracted in the hands of Delta Limited of dividend received by both are taxable. Again wrong, because Rajesh does not have to pay tax. ICAI question. ICAI RTP question. Second statement wrong. DDT is payable and also dividend received by Ganesh is taxable at 10%. This looks right, but no. This means that Ganesh will pay on entire 12.75. They are saying dividend received by Ganesh. No, not 12.75. Only 2.75. DDT is payable by Delta Limited. That's right. Ganesh has to pay tax at 10% on dividend of 2.75. This is the only correct answer. Anything else is going to be wrong. Next. Miss Geeta, born in USA, comes to India for the first time on 5th January 2020 and left India on 28 May 2000. 20. That means from 5th January, I think she was here till 31st March. Then we are not interested in what happened next year. She was born and brought up in the USA, but her grandparents were born in Karachi before 1940. That means she is a person of Indian origin. She is a person of Indian. In December 2016, she bought in foreign currency 500 GDR of PQR Limited, an Indian company, which were issued in accordance with notified scheme of central government against the initial issue of shares. PQR. So she acquired PQR shares and exchanged it for GDR, 500 GDR. On January 2020, she sold 300 GDR outside India to Mr. Frank, a citizen and a resident of country X, and 200 GDR to Mr. Kamal, a resident but not ordinarily resident. Comment on the tax consequences. Comments on the tax consequences. See, 300 she is selling to Mr. Frank, who is a citizen of that country, but 200 she is selling to a resident, and therefore on 300 there will be no capital gain, but on 200 there will be capital gain because resident. Question number 19. In October 2014, Raghav, an Indian citizen, oh my god, this is, just cancel this please, sorry, this is a completely repeated question, completely. Sometimes it will happen because we have picked up all RTPs, all the MCQs released in the database by ICAI, so sometimes repetition can take place. Just excuse these minor glitches. Question number 20. Under section 115A, deduction of chapter 6A will be available. Do we get chapter 6A? Do we get chapter 6A? Normally we don't, but against royalty and FTS we will get. So from interest we will not get, royalty we get and FTS we get. That means, can I say actual answer will be D? If B and C both are correct, then correct option is D. No, because D covers both. You cannot just select one of them. You have to select both, and both are covered in D. Tax rate for FIIs on short-term capital gain under section 115AD. 115AD is that only section of the chapter which has covered short-term capital gain also. What is the tax rate for short-term capital gain? STT pay hua, then 15, not paid, then 30. That means, can I say both A and B based on the payment of STT? Casual winnings are taxable at, very easy questions. Casual winning are taxable at 30%. For whom? All assessees. Condition for assessee covered under 115BB from being exempt in ROI despite having income exceeding the basic exemption limit. What were the conditions? No other income TDS is fully deducted. No other income TDS fully deducted. And if you end up selecting this as the option, nonsense. This facility is not going to be available, because facility is available in 115A, 115AC, 115BBA and NRI taxation 115G. For 115BB casual winnings, facility is not going to be available. If you get drowned in the conditions, आप कंडीशन में डूब के मर जाएगा. लेकिन क्वेश्चन कुछ और ही पूछ रहा है. आपको इस क्वेश्चन को आंसर देने का मार्क्स मिलेगा. आपकी नॉलेज, पार्डन माय लैंग्वेज, आपकी नॉलेज गई बाढ़ में तेल लगाने. टू अप्लाई ऑयल, इंग्लिश में तेल लगाने गई, ऑयल अप्लाई करने की. Facility not available because for casual winnings you don't have the facility. Question 24. Section 115BBA is applicable to non-resident sportsmen, sports association, entertainer, umpire. चार दिया, ये चार ऑप्शन नहीं है, ऑप्शन नीचे है. Is it available to sportsmen? Yes. Association yes. Entertainer no. Entertainer yes, sorry. And umpire no. तो all of them आंसर नहीं हो सकता है. 1 and 2 नहीं हो सकता है क्योंकि 3 को भी मिलता है. 1 and 3 नहीं हो सकता है क्योंकि 2 को भी मिलता है. 1, 2 and 3. 1, 2 and 3. तो अगर आपने अंपायर को दे दिया तो गलती से आप ऑप्शन ए सिलेक्ट कर लोगे, बट आंसर इज डी, बिकॉज 1, 2 and 3 of them get it. कंडीशन फॉर एसएससी कवर्ड अंडर 115 बीबीए. बीबीए में ये ऑप्शन है ना, नॉट फाइलिंग आरओआई का. बीबीए में तो ऑप्शन है नो अदर इनकम, टीडीएस फुल्ली डिडक्टेड, सो वी वांट टू कवर both, and therefore option C is going to be our correct option. C is going to be our correct option. Question number 26. Assessees under which section are exempt from ROI despite having income exceeding basic exemption limit? Condition हमको मालूम है, no other income TDS is deducted. 115A, AC, BBA and G. So allowed and therefore correct option ये रहेगा. Correct. Question number 27. Once the option under section 115 BBF is opted, it has to be continued for a minimum period of, what is the कंपल्सरी पीरियड 5 years, 3 years, 2 years, not compulsory to continue, but the assessee will lose benefit. रूल क्या है, पहले मैं रूल याद दिलवाता हूं. Once you take 115 BBF, compulsory for 5 years. तो सुनने में लगेगा कि शायद ऑप्शन ए इज करेक्ट, बट कैन यू लीव इन बिटवीन? Yes, if you leave, it won't be available for next 5 years. Apparently, it looks like A is correct, but the truth is that B is going to be your correct answer. समझा? Next, knowledge based industry under 115 ACA. एम्प्लॉयर इन नॉलेज बेस्ड इंडस्ट्री और सर्विस, याद है क्या? इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी सॉफ्टवेयर, इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी सर्विस, बायोटेक्नोलॉजी, फार्मास्यूटिकल, एंटरटेनमेंट, एनी अदर नोटिफाइड. तो क्या चार्टेड अकाउंटेंट कवर है? नहीं है. सिविल इंजीनियर? नहीं है. इंजीनियरिंग इज नॉट एजुकेशन. एंटरटेनमेंट? यस, एंड देन ऑल ऑफ देम ऑब्वियसली कैन नॉट बी द आंसर. एंटरटेनमेंट. नेक्स्ट, एक्चुअली हमारे टेक्स्ट बुक का सम है, बट नाउ यू रियलाइज हाउ अ 4 mark टेक्स्ट बुक सम कैन बी कन्वर्टेड इनटू एमसीक्यू. कोई कोई बच्चे को तो आंसर भी याद होएगा. Nadal, a tennis professional and a non-Indian citizen, participated in India in tennis tournament and won prize money of 15 lakhs. Contributed articles on the tournament in local newspaper for which he was paid 1 lakh. He was paid 5 lakh by a soft drink company for appearance in TV advertisement. Although his expenses in India were met by the sponsors, he had to incur traveling expenses 3 lakh rupees. He was resident for tax purposes. What would be his tax liability? Mitro, 115 BBA is available only if you are non-resident and foreign national. अगर आपने गलती से इसको 115 BBA लगा दिया तो आप गया, बुरे तरीके से गया, बिकॉज ही इज अ रेसिडेंट. तो हमारे क्लास में जो क्वेश्चन हमने सॉल्व किया ना, नॉर्मल बैच फुल कोर्स ऑफ डायरेक्ट टैक्स, उसमें क्वेश्चन में असेसी नॉन रेजिडेंट था, ये रेजिडेंट है, तो रेजिडेंट को कोई स्पेशल रेट नहीं लगेगा. कैन आई से नॉर्मल रेट ऑफ टैक्स? और अगर नॉर्मल रेट ऑफ टैक्स है ना, तो आपका ये जो एक्सपेंस का डिडक्शन है वो भी मिलेगा. सी, इफ इट वॉज नॉन रेसिडेंट देन 115 BBA विल अप्लाई, then you won't get deduction of expense. Then you won't get deduction of expense. But if he is resident, then normal rate of tax, and if it is normal rate of tax, तो deduction of expense भी मिलेगा. That means can I say 21 lakh is your total income, लेकिन 3 lakh का आपको deduction मिलेगा because you are a resident. चलो सम बेस है तो सॉल्व कर लेते हैं. It's question number 29 of chapter 5. रेसिडेंट है, ये याद रखना, रेसिडेंट है मींस नॉर्मल रेट्स. इनकम्स का टोटल कितना है? 21 लाख. विल यू गेट डिडक्शन ऑफ एक्सपेंस? यस, बिकॉज नॉर्मल रेट है. अगर आपने स्पेशल रेट लगा दिया तो आप मर गया. मेरे ऑप्शन क्या है? विदाउट डिडक्शन स्पेशल रेट, विद डिडक्शन स्पेशल रेट, विदाउट डिडक्शन नॉर्मल रेट, विद डिडक्शन नॉर्मल रेट. ये मेरे 4 ऑप्शन. आई हैव चोजन माई ऑप्शन वेरी क्लेवरली. सो 18 लाख के ऊपर कैन आई से 8 लाख का 30% प्लस 1 लाख 12,500, नो सरचार्ज, नो रिबेट, आई थिंक 1.04. I think are you getting 366 600? It is one of the options, 366 600, but normal rate of tax will apply is what you had to be careful about. And if normal rate, then we get deduction of expense. Question 13. Apparently same लग रहा है, लेकिन same है नहीं, देख लेते हैं. Nadal, a tennis professional non-Indian citizen, participated in India in a tennis tournament and won the prize money of 15 lakhs. He contributed articles on the tournament in local newspaper for which he was paid 10 lakhs. Same है अब तक. 5 lakh for soft drink company appearance in TV advertisement. Same है. Expenses were met by sponsors. He incurred 3 lakh travel cost. Same है. He was a non-resident, and the moment he becomes a non-resident, what will be his tax liability? देखो, non-resident है तो 115 BBA लगेगा. स्पेशल रेट है तो डिडक्शन ऑफ एक्सपेंस नहीं है, एंड अगर डिडक्शन ऑफ एक्सपेंस नहीं है देन ईयर इट विल डायरेक्टली बी 21 लाख इंटू 20% एंड ऑब्वियसली प्लस HEC. नो सरचार्ज, लेस देन 50 लाख, नो रिबेट. सो 21, ये क्लासरूम वाला क्वेश्चन है हमारा. 20% प्लस 4%, आई थिंक यू आर गेटिंग 4,36,800 एज योर आंसर. तो देखिए, अगर रेजिडेंट है तो नॉर्मल रेट पे आफ्टर डिडक्शन ऑफ एक्सपेंस ये आंसर आ रहा है, एंड नॉन रेजिडेंट है तो स्पेशल रेट पे विदाउट डिडक्शन ऑफ एक्सपेंस. यू हैव टू बी वेरी केयरफुल. अगर आपने ध्यान नहीं दिया तो आप मर जाएगा बुरी तरीके से. और ये समझ में आता है क्या बोल रहा है? चलिए, let us continue. Question number 31. Smith, a non-resident cricketer, is a member of Australian touring team, received a sum of 5 lakhs for participation in matches in India. He received a sum of 1 lakh for an advertisement of a product on TV. He contributed articles in a newspaper for which he received 10,000. During the tour, he attended horse racing in Mumbai and he won prize of 20,000. He has no other income in India. देखिए, now is he non-resident? Yes. Foreign national? Yes. तो क्या आप ये इनकम क्या क्या दिया? 5 lakh plus 1 lakh 6 lakh and 10,000 610 and 630. क्या आप ये पूरे के ऊपर 20% लगाओगे? No. Casual winning will be taxable at 30%. So accordingly, ये भी हमारे क्लास का समय एक्चुअली, ये भी हमारे फुल कोर्स में प्रॉपरली एक्सप्लेन करके कराया जाता है. क्वेश्चन नंबर 31. 6,10,000 will be taxable at 20%. However, जो कैजुअल विनिंग्स है that will be taxable at 30%. Correct or no? So I think you get 122 here. तो क्या मेरे को आंसर लर्न है, क्योंकि बहुत बार करते हैं हम लोग. 1,28,000 and plus HEC 4% करेगा तो I think you are getting 133, 120. Is it one of the options? चेक कर लीजिए प्लीज, चेक कर लीजिए. 133, 120. Yes, that's your correct answer. In the above question, if TDS is fully deducted, TDS is deducted, then does he have to file his return? Not required. Yes, as he has casual winnings. Yes, as his income exceeds basic exemption limit. Or both B and C. Both B and C. Obviously, देखिए कैजुअल विनिंग्स के लिए ऑप्शन नहीं अवेलेबल, so this is right. And his income is exceeding basic exemption limit. This is also right. And because both of them are right, the correct option will be D. Any person having income below the basic exemption limit is not required to file. So correct option ये है. आपको जस्ट एक इंफॉर्मेशन के लिए बता रहा हूं. आंसर जो प्रिंटेड आंसर है उसमें बी प्रिंट हुआ है, वो रॉन्ग है. सी देखिए, ये राइट है बट ये भी राइट है, और अगर ये भी राइट है तो फिर आंसर ये बनेगा. एंड देयरफॉर करेक्ट ऑप्शन इज डी. यू हैव टू करेक्ट दिस प्रिंटिंग मिस्टेक इन द टेक्स्ट बुक दैट हैज बीन गिवन टू यू. ओके. इन द अबव क्वेश्चन, इफ ही इज एन अंपायर, अभी तो आपको पता है अंपायर मतलब नॉर्मल रेट. अगर अंपायर मतलब नॉर्मल रेट तो क्या 33 नो, तो क्या पूरा का पूरा 6,30,000 के ऊपर नॉर्मल रेट? नहीं 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 नहीं. 20,000 will still be taxable at 30% because it is casual winning. But 6,10,000 will be taxable at slab rates. Slab rates. तो क्या आपका आंसर आता है? 1,10,000 का 20% plus 12,500. 22 plus 12,500, 34,500. 34,500 plus 6,000, 40,500 plus 4%, 42,100 and 42,120 आई थिंक आपको मिल, देख लीजिए. ओके. नेक्स्ट, इंटरेस्ट इनकम अर्न्ड बाय नॉन रेसिडेंट ड्यूरिंग 1920 ऑन बॉन्ड्स इशूड बाय एबीसी लिमिटेड, एन इंडियन कंपनी अंडर अ स्कीम नोटिफाइड बाय द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट दैट वर परचेस्ड बाय हिम इन कन्वर्टेबल फॉरेन एक्सचेंज. 115 एसी के ऊपर आ गया. नोटिफाइड इंडियन कंपनी, यस और नो, टैक्सेबल एट 10%. A foreign institutional investor has total income which includes short-term capital gain on sale of preference shares 50 lakh. The rate of tax for charging such income to tax, FII, ST, STCG, preference shares. Remember, preference shares, even if you pay STT, 111A is not going to be available, and therefore preference share will always be taxable at 30%. 111A is available only for equity shares, units of equity or mutual fund, units of business trust. The rate of deduction of TDS from interest payable to a foreign company located in a country with which there is no DTAA by an Indian company on borrowing made by it from the said foreign company by way of rupee denominated bonds issued on 31st March 2019. Rupee denominated bonds which were issued during this particular period, September 2018 to March 2019, एक टेम्पररी फेज का एग्जेम्पशन आया है एज वी आर अवेयर, और क्योंकि ये एग्जेम्पशन आया है देन इट विल बी 0. और इसके बाद में आपको पता होना चाहिए देन लेटर ऑन इट विल बिकम 5% प्लस एचईसी surcharge if applicable and HEC. Once the bond is issued from 1st April 19, then the rate will change to 5% plus SC plus HEC. तो आपका वो अगर ये 31st मार्च की जगह 1st April 19 हो जाएगा ना, तो आपका आंसर ये आ जाएगा. बट 31st मार्च 19 को इशू हुआ है, इट इज गोइंग टू बी exempt. Interest income earned by Mr. George, a non-resident and citizen of Australia, during previous year 1920 on bonds issued by MNO Limited, an Indian company under a scheme notified by the central government which were purchased by him in convertible foreign exchange. Can I say again, it becomes notified company and therefore taxable at a rate of 10%. And then finally, P Limited is a domestic company which filed its return of income for AY 2021, declaring a total income of 1 crore 15 lakh. The assessment in its case was opened by the AO by issuing scrutiny notice, that is 143.2. The assessing officer doubted the genuineness of the loans taken by the company and added the amount of rupees 5 lakh to the total income as cash credits. What shall be the effective rate at which the income of 5 lakh will be taxable? What is the rate of tax for unexplained cash credit? 60, but that cannot be the answer. We will add surcharge, even if it is 1 rupee, so that's 25% surcharge, and after we add 25% surcharge, we know this, that we will be having 4% HEC. So 60 plus 25% plus 4%, effective tax rate will come to 78%. Understood all of you all? Fantastic. That's the end of our chapter, special rates of tax. Because we were in the middle of the chapter, so it was only sensible that we finish this chapter. That's your lecture number 2 on MCQs. We will continue in the next class. Thank you very, very much.